Hello, hello. Welcome back. Welcome back, technologists. Welcome back to the podcast. So, it is a very gloomy week this week, and I am starting off my day like a shit show. Okay. So, yeah, I tried to get my 3 a.m. workout this morning, and I was met with two flat tires this morning. So, naturally, I am late for work. Decided to just drop this podcast really quick. And yeah, so that is what I'm dealing with because sometimes life just be lifing and we just go through the motions on this. So, um, hope you guys are having a good week. It is very rainy, cold, and I think we're going to get our first snow here in the state of Illinois pretty soon. So, and Thanksgiving is next week, right around the corner. I can't believe it has just come up on us that quick. So, little bit of housekeeping. If you are on my email list or you have listened to the previous podcast episode, I went ahead and put together this free CT training checklist for new technologists. It's a great resource to kind of get where you need to be on your CT training so that you have a little bit of guidance on what to do and what to learn. Like it's a step by step. Now, if you want more in depth on what I go into in that guide, come and join my coaching program. Okay. I am taking 10 students. We start the first week of December. So that is when we start. So make sure you guys check that out. There is a link in the show notes to apply to the program. So make sure you get in on all that action. So the program price is 6 months for $5,000. There are affordable payment plans for this program where you come into my community. I coach you for 6 months. I get your skills tip top. We assess your skills. We set up some goals and you learn from me as far as the A through Z to be the go-to CT tech so that you can walk into any hospital and shine. So come and join my program. Link is in the show notes. Now, if you need like an accelerated program, I have a 90-day program that you can go ahead and enroll into. So make sure you check out the show notes and get in on all the action. So let's get into today's episode, which I am going to talk about my story on the CT registry, how I failed the first attempt, what steps I took to succeed, and to make sure that you are CT registry ready. Okay. So I know that the CT registry is a pretty difficult exam. I know this from experience because I actually volunteered my time to sit on the CT committee for the ARRT. This was back probably in 2013 to 2015. So I did a couple years where I did volunteer my time. And I got a very nice plaque. It was amazing. It was probably one of the highlights of my career to sit down and devise and organize the questions for the registry. Now, little disclaimer, I cannot tell you what is on that test because I am under a non-disclosure because of that. Okay. So sorry. I know some of you techs will ask, well, what is it on there? I cannot tell you. So they have you sign a specific non-disclosure that you cannot share any information on what questions are on the registry. Okay. So what I can do is I can give you guidance on what you should study. That I can do, but as far as the questions, no. Okay. So I know when I started as a brand new tech, there was lots of talks about getting the registry. I worked at a small community hospital at that time, and the registry wasn't really something that they really required, and because it was not something that was in their policy. Okay. And they were perfectly fine with cross training x-ray techs and then just having them work in CT because they already had an x-ray license and they were licensed in x-ray. So I started learning CT. This was back in 2003. And I had been a tech for about a couple of years. So this is like 2004. And my supervisor had strongly suggested that I do that because I would be more marketable and I can find a higher paying job and kind of, advance in, the career ladder. So I said, okay. So I started looking into it and I said, oh, well, maybe I could take this registry. It'll be easy. I know everything there needs to know about CT. I've been doing it for a couple years. I'm pretty quick and efficient in it. And I can take this test. So I think at the time it was $250 to take the test. I'm not sure what it is now because I took it back. Oh my gosh, it was 15 years ago. So I started researching on any study materials. And what I came to find out is there was not a lot of study materials out there. I think there was like a few books. There were no courses, no CT programs in the state that I lived in. Okay. So it was far few in between. So a couple people had suggested something, and I know they suggested the Mosby's and then the CT Registry Review through the micinfo.com. So I got both of those books, and I went ahead and I didn't really take it seriously. And I said, oh, this cross section, I already know this. I know exactly what I'm looking for. And oh, the physics, I got it. And I thought, okay, so I didn't really put a lot of emphasis in studying for the registry. I would look over the books, but I really wasn't just, die hard. Okay, let's study because we need to pass. I said, oh, well, I know this. It's fine. Well, I come to get the test and I'm thinking, okay, this is not hard. Well, when I went in and took the test, I kind of was hit with the fear like, oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't think I studied this. I don't think I went over this. Yeah, I really don't know this. And I said, okay, well, I'll give it my best shot and then we'll see what happens. Well, when I got that small letter, and we all know by the size, if you passed or failed, I had gotten a 70%. I had failed miserably. I was so angry and disappointed in myself. And it's because I didn't take it upon myself to be more disciplined, to be more focused, and to really take the time out to really study for this exam. That's why they call it an advanced level exam. So naturally, I got discouraged. I got discouraged from taking the test. I didn't want to have anything to do with it. My mindset was, well, since they're not requiring it, why should I even do it? I'm not getting any extra money. I am not getting any incentive to have more credentials after my name. So, what is the point of doing this? So, within that time, I had switched to a bigger hospital with more acuity, with more exams, and just more things in general. And then at that time, I had taken a supervisor's position. So I'd taken a management position because there was a lot of shifts in management. Like my previous supervisor had abruptly left and he had left and, he was gone. So they had approached somebody else that had more experience and they said, well, why don't you do this? And they're like, no, that means I would have to go to day shift and I don't want to go to day shift. So they went through everybody and then they came to me and they said, hey, do you want to do this on an interim basis? I said, I don't know anything about management. And I said, why would I want to do that? They said, well, we'll send you to some leadership classes. And I said, okay, well, this is only a temporary basis until you guys hire somebody. Sure. So I think it took 6 months before they hired somebody. And then they hired this other person. She seemed like she was great. However, they ended up letting her go because there was an open workman's comp case that she had that the hospital never knew about. And that kind of was like a big ding. So they unfortunately had to terminate her and she was gone. So naturally, they came back to me and said, would you do this on a permanent basis? And I said, listen, I don't know anything about management. And they said, listen, we'll give you this much of a pay increase. We'll help you out. We'll send you to education. We'll send you to leadership classes, whatever it is that you need, we'll send you. So on a dime, I said, okay, this would be a good career advancement. But they said, but here's the caveat. You need to get that CT registry. And I said, oh my God, this thing again. And they go, you have to, because in 2011, they're going to start the CQR mandate. And if you don't want to be subject to it, you need to take it like now. So in 2010, this was before CQR, was mandated because they mandated it in January of 2011. So I took it upon myself to make sure that I got those study books. And I think I got an additional study book as well. And I went ahead and I took 3-4 months I put in a couple hours every day, even when I was on call at the hospital in the middle of the night and I was waiting for the next order. Didn't matter because at that time I didn't have any children. I was not married yet. And actually, yes, I was married in 2010. I did not have any children just yet. So I decided to make sure that I did my best. I focused. I was more disciplined, took 3, 4 months out and studied for that registry. So in June of 2010, I went ahead and I made the next appointment. I paid more money to sit for that registry once more. I said, I'm going to give it this last shot. If it doesn't work, then I'm done. I will just find another career path and I will just go ahead and not even think about this anymore. So I went ahead and took the test. I felt really lousy about it. But then as soon as I was finished, it popped up with a score and it said 80%. And I go, oh my gosh, I think I actually did it. I go 80%. I was like, I didn't care. As long as I got a 75 or better, I was happy. So I said, okay, let's see if in the mail, that's really true. Well, lo and behold, when I got the big package in the mail, that's when I knew, yes, this 80% was true. And even though 80% may not be great, it's a passing score. Okay. And I was glad that it was over. So what I want you to take away from this episode is that you have to remember that the CT registry is an advanced level exam. So you have to take it seriously, not only when you're collecting all your clinical competencies and knowing how to scan and knowing exactly what you're looking at, you also have to know the physics part of it, and all the other technical aspects of CT. So what I would highly recommend, and I know I've done a video, and if you go to my Instagram page, I can also link it in the show notes. I went ahead and answered a viewer's comment about what they need to study because they had failed the registry the first time. So there's a few books that I recommended, and I recommend a cross-sectional anatomy book, the Mosby's, and then that CT registry review from micinfo.com. So I will go ahead and link those in the show notes and link that video so you guys can get a better understanding if you are lost and need to know what to study. Those are all the books that I study. I still currently have them. That is what I studied to pass the registry. And I passed it, with an 80%. 80 is better than 0. Okay. So I want you to make sure that you take your time to study for that exam. 90 days is actually pretty good. Okay. I thought in 90 days, yes, I've got this. And it doesn't matter how many hours or how many minutes a day, even if it's 30 minutes a day, and you just study something each and every day, that helps because it just, it gets you to where you need to be. For me, I needed just a little bit of extra time because I have to see something over and over and over and over again to really make it stick in my mind. So I hope these pointers are good for you, and I will link everything in the show notes just in case you're stuck. Okay. And that is my story on how I failed the registry on the first time, how you can get CT registry ready, and the steps I took to succeed. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed listening to this episode. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, share it with your CT friends, your department, because all this information that I drop on every podcast episode can help somebody out there. So thank you all for listening, and I will chat with you guys next week.